R and L. These two sounds may not be an issue for you at all. That is excellent. They tend to be confusing for people from Asian countries in general. Mixing up these two sounds is a very clear mark of an accent, not American. But they're actually very different. So let's get very clear on how they're different. First, we're going to talk about R and L at the beginning of a word, and that includes beginning blends or consonant clusters. The shape of the mouth for R at the beginning is this: Rachel, right, really. You can see the lips come in. The tongue position, of course, is always more difficult to get to because you can't see it. The middle lifts, the front part pulls back, so the tip is not all the way forward and is not touching anything. For the light L, the tongue tip is all the way forward. It is touching something, either the front of the roof of the mouth or the back of the top front teeth, maybe the bottom of the top front teeth. Ul, 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 very different positions. Here are photos of the two sounds. Remember, the L can also have the tongue tip here. So let's look at some words holding out the L. Like, play, fly. And now the R. Ring, price, free. The sounds look very different, they feel very different, and they sound very different. In my experience, the issue with people who mix up these sounds isn't that they can't make the sounds. In many cases, they have a very good R sound and a very good L sound. The issue is they switch them, reverse them. Now, as you know, English is not a phonetic language, but there is good news when it comes to R and L. When you see the letter R, it's always the R sound. There are no other letters that make the R sound. When you see the L, it's always the L sound, except for a few cases where the L is silent, like in these words, would, walk, half. There are no other letters that make the L sound. So it's not hard to know when to make an L and when to make an R. What's going to be hard is breaking the very strong habit of saying things like lice instead of rice, glate instead of great, or rets instead of let's. There's a lot of audio to work on following this video. Work with those files slowly, intentionally, repetitiously. If you start noticing words that you're mispronouncing this way in conversation or when practicing your English, write them down and practice them slowly every night, 20, 30 times each. Okay, now let's talk about R's and L's at the end of a word. These are different because of the dark L. Also, the R tends to be more relaxed at the end of a word. But for the R, the tongue position is the same. Fear, The middle lifts, the front pulls back, tip doesn't touch anything. Fear, You can see the lips might be a little bit more relaxed. Fear, The dark L, rather than dealing with the middle of the mouth, deals with the back of the tongue. As you know, pulling back, pressing down a bit, tongue tip stays down. So the dark part of the dark L has nothing to do with the front of the mouth, just the back. Dark L. R, light L. As you're practicing word pairs, do use your finger on your face, pointing to where the tongue should be doing its work, holding out the sounds. O, O. R or L, whether at the beginning of the word or at the end. Table, O, dark L. Rider, R. Feel, O, dark L, back of the mouth. Fear, R, middle of the mouth. Like, light L, front of the mouth. It's all about the tongue position and retraining any bad habits you may have.